Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And joining us live from Armenia is Narek Vardanyan. He is a serial entrepreneur, author, a keynote speaker, co founder, and CEO of TCF and prelaunch.com. Welcome to the show, Narek.
Thanks for having me.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people will benefit from your what we'll be talking about, how to validate your business or your product idea before launch. So a lot of you have your business interests in the US. So you keep on traveling between Armenia and the US. So my first question to understand, Narek, for the audience is help us understand this pre-launch business. What is this idea validation, concept idea validation, product idea validation, and your company TCF and prelaunch.com?
Thank you. So Prelaunch is a platform which helps creators to understand how valid is their ideas and products in the market, how viable they are, right? So on the one hand, you have creators, product producers, who are placing their early stage concepts on the platform. And then on the other side, you have a community who is placing $10 to $20 to reserve a discount if these products come to life. And this way, they give very credible signals to these creators that they really want to buy these products. And then what Prelaunch does, takes into account the data, analyzes it, and as it's based on actual purchase intent, whereas basically people have a skin in the game, it's 10 times more powerful than any other research methods, surveys, opinions, etc., etc. So it makes it very trustful data and very reliable data. So you as a creator understand at an early stage whether it makes sense to move on with this concept or not. If yes, how you can polish it, change the concept, test it, experiment it with the pricing, etc., to move forward confidently. And then when you launch it into the market, you already know that you have like a really product market fit and you have polished the product in the best way possible.
Right, right. So help us understand how is it different than the product launch testing that happens or has been happening till now. I don't know much about product launches, but I do understand about this pilot project. You launch a product in one particular area, test it out, and then see how it goes, and then you expand it to bigger and larger territories. How is your business or your way of doing things is different or bringing the change than what has been happening till now?
So specifically, we are focused on physical products. So I will be speaking when I'm saying product, I mostly mean physical innovative products, because
Right.
in software it's a bit different. It's like this lean methodology for quite some time. That's a kind of religion in software, but in hardware it's not like that. In hardware, a lot of work is happening in isolation, and then a lot of research is happening by the surveys. They go outside, ask people, then the focus groups. It's a lot of opinionated, I would say, right? And then also there's a crowdfunding which is used for also for validation, etc., etc. But there hasn't been a single kind of purchase-based platform so far that would be based on people's actual commitment. And with this reservation, we understood that you don't sell the product completely. You just ask for a small amount, like $1, $10, etc. But with this $1 or $10, people really give a really high commitment that they really want to buy. And then the correlation between those people and the final buyers is super high. So you basically kind of understand like where people are ready to buy your product, your concept at an early stage or not, right? Then after that stage, when you already have the right type of customers, the right type of community, because you know that they committed with their own credit cards, with their own money, right? Then what you can do is ask them the right questions, look at the right metrics, understand the right metrics, and then based on these processes that we're doing in the past 4 years, we already understood like what metrics and what processes, like what means what, basically how to understand, like if you have 20% like conversion rate or two people bought out of 100. Is it good or bad, right? You don't know. And what pre-launch does, it creates benchmarks and it shows you guidance and basically guides you on how well you are doing according to this parameter, that parameter, according to your concept, your messaging, your pricing, who are your customers, why they are buying your products, what like resonates the most with them, and you can see it in a much more clear and better way.
Right, right. And what are the mistakes that innovative product makers are making right now? And you talk about the loss of resources during this process. Help us understand this part from the mistakes so that people always look at the money part first, and then that messaging gets much more quicker into people's mind. So help us this part, and then we can move on to other questions.
The money part is that you can invest a lot of money into a product that doesn't have a demand. And producers are optimists, and which is good, by the way. But sometimes they're so optimist and super optimist that they forget about checking their customers, checking about the demand, going out there, getting the customers as early on board as possible, and they are afraid of getting an imperfect product to communities. Especially again, when I'm saying in hardware, it's typically not happening. Like in software, you can just bring your imperfect product to the customers, and they you can kind of start co-creating with them. But in hardware, you want to make it ideal, and and it's in hardware, it's pretty expensive. Like people are selling their houses, their cars. We have even this funny video when like a guy sells everything in the shower when he have this crazy idea, and then eventually it doesn't work out. So it turns out like that a typical single kind of uh, average product production can cost up to $1 million to you, and a couple of years with all this ideation, concept, design, and then stock production, right? And that's a pretty significant amount. And then if you're working on the wrong idea, it can be a very significant loss, even if you're working on the right idea. And we have a lot of these kind of cases where the concept is right, like the product is right, the market is there, but you need some polishing, some improvements, some fine tunes on some of the areas to understand what customers really want, what people really value. And then you need to validate those customers to understand whom to really listen to. Because if you go out and you have a really cool electric motorcycle and you just ask around like what you want to change, and then a grandmother can give you like kind of insights, you shouldn't listen to her, right? But whom to listen to, this comes when they are validated, when they have the skin in the game. Then you understand that they are your type of customers. Then you try to squeeze the maximum out of them, understand what kind of insights they have, what kind of ideas they have, and fine tune the product, co-created with your customers. We call it a co-creation, until you're ready to launch. And when you're launching, you already are very confident that this is going to be success.
Okay, okay, Narek. You have helped thousands of creators validate their products at 80% plus accuracy rate. What is the other 20% dependent on?
uh, the market is unpredictable, typically, and anything can happen. It's not 100% guaranteed, because like a COVID can happen, anything can happen. Like the market is there are a lot of trends which impacts into the success that entrepreneurs have. But you can mitigate those risks like significantly, right? If you can mitigate the risk like by 80%, why not doing it? And yeah, and then you can very carefully check the market trends. We are also working on a solution that will come up on pre-launch soon, which will help you understand what kind of trends are there. Is it an upwarding trend? Is it a downward trend? And if you're working on something that just is going down, even if you are the number one in there, eventually it won't be a successful business. So I would highly suggest to check out the market factors, the market trends, the competition. Somebody may come up to the market with a better product than yourself. It also can happen, and nobody's kind of isolated from these kind of risks. Yeah, and consumer preferences might drastically change due to some drastical events.
Right, right. Now let's try to understand it this way. I uh, have an idea, and you talk about a concept as well as a product idea, or you tell me if it's the same thing. So I have a concept or an idea, a product idea, and then I think, okay, I should go and test it or sell it, and I come to you. So what do
Uh,
you need? What do you need for me? And how much time do you need for testing that idea? And the important part is whether I may have the world's best idea, but the people may not need that product at all. So how do I know that before I spend more money into it?
Yeah, so that's exactly our job. That's exactly what pre-launch does. Basically, uh, tells you without any emotions, because if you're asking your friends, they might be shy to tell you that the idea is not that great, let's say. But pre-launch doesn't have emotions, so it directly tells you that it's not a good idea. Uh, yeah, like coming to your question, if you have an idea is just in the air. Like you can't just really sell an idea because you're imagining it in a different way, people are imagining it in another way, etc. So you need to give it a shape. Like it has to have a shape, it has to have a visual, it has to have a description, it has to have a price, etc. So as long as you have it, even without a prototype, you have like really good renders, really good visuals, where people can relate, like what is that idea about, right? You can like create a page on pre-launch in 30 minutes for free, even in less. We have a lot of AI tools which are just asking you a couple of questions, and you're like telling, like you're telling, you tell a friend, and your page and visuals will be fully ready. And then you would launch a pre-launch campaign, where you would drive some traffic on your page, and also we have an organic community which will check out your product. And then based on the reservations and based on the ratios, and in the dashboard you will see a guidance where basically we will compare your product to similar type of products. Like what pre-launch does is basically takes your product, understand its category, understand what other similar type of products have been on the platform before, and then compares you and tells you how well you're doing. Are you like exceeding those products? Are you behind them? And based on that, it gives you like analyzes some complex amount of data, like whether people are commenting on your product, how much time people are spending on your page, basically how much people are interested to buy your product, I would say, right? So it's a complex formula, but eventually at the end of the day, it comes down to desire and checking different signals which checks the desire of people to buy your product, and just tell you this works and this doesn't work, and then your job is to experiment, to play with it. So as long as you have some significant amount of people and you're sure that it's not working that well, like the red color is not working that well, you change it to green, and then you see how it impacts to the overall performance. Then you change the positioning, like you have the message, world's first something. Yeah, you change it to something else and see how it resonates with the customers. Then it comes to the price, like what price is the best price you should set for this specific product. Sometimes it's not only about decreasing the price. We had many cases where we gave suggestion increase the price, like and we had this resistance that customers were resisting, but eventually they increased the price and they launched the product with 100% more margin. So in these kind of experiments helps you understand what are some of the best equilibrium that you need to go to the market.
Okay, okay. And is this pre-launch? It's all related to only a few sectors, or it can be done for almost all sectors which have products, like we talked about that. Okay, we'll be talking about physical products and all. So
As
is
long
that
as it's a Yeah, as long as it's a physical consumer product, so it's important for you to have a consumer product, because B2B products are not. It's hard to get these kind of audiences. I would say it's a
okay?
little bit complicated. But if it's a mass product, if it's a consumer product, and also it's an innovation, then pretty much any category can work. We have some strong categories where we have like really engaged audiences and communities, but typically the model works for any type of consumer products.
Okay, okay. And in terms of markets, all products work differently on in different markets. How do you get that data from different markets? Is it all publicly available data? Is it based on that? And will it work? Because India is a very price sensitive market, as well as we need quality. So how does it work? How do you integrate the product idea? A lot of people want to. It's a global world. Online, a lot of sales can happen. E-commerce is the way to go for today. So how do you integrate all that thing into your system so that you can get the results quickly?
That's a very good question, and the audience testing is one of our kind of primary and most demanded features, I would say. The way we bring audience is through the following channel. Like typically it's two channels, like our own organic community. If you want to test specific regions like India, etc.,
Oh,
we would select a specifically Indian audience from our community, and we have access to close to a couple of million community members already. And then, most importantly, we're driving traffic through advertising. So we would advertise on Facebook and on Google to bring specifically the desired type of people to the page and see how they are behaving. Basically, if you want to test a specifically Indian market, even from specific cities, you can bring people from these specific cities and see how they are behave. What's their behavior is like. Are they reserving the product? Are they subscribing? Are they participating in the surveys, etc., etc., right? So with this way, you're able to test a very specific location, specific markets. Like you can test, how people are behaving in Berlin, in Germany, in New York, in North America, and in India. And then you can compare it to each other, and then you can basically understand where it resonates the most for your product to go.
absolutely. There is so much to know more about this subject. I'm sure a lot of innovators, creators, business people would like to understand more from you directly. So how they can do that, how they can professionally engage with you, what is the best way?
The best way is to write an email at narek@prelaunch.com or at LinkedIn. Finding me Narek Vardanyan on LinkedIn, and I'm like very open to all kind of conversations and trying to support to innovators as much as I can.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you also can be helpful for them. You are an author, you have written the best selling Crowdfunding Secrets. That's the book you have written. And a lot of creators, innovators, they do need a good amount of money. Maybe crowdfunding is the way to go. So, what is this book about? What can they learn? Who is this book for? And where they can get this book from?
Yes, as you said, if they want to learn the secrets, that then we are exposing a lot of secrets in this book, crowdfunding secrets. It's available on our website. We have an agency as well. I'm also the founder of TCF, which is, I would say, one of the top crowdfunding marketing agencies. So we have done a lot of $1 million crowdfunding campaigns, and we really know how to do it. They can get the book from the website at tcf.team. In this website, they can get it and get access to all these complex like strategies basically that we've used to raise literally millions of dollars.
Wonderful, wonderful. On this note, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.